Hey everyone, Ryan and Ross here from Prop Firms Compared. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast where we're talking to prop firm CEOs. Um, on the line today, we have got Rich from Elysium. Rich and Elysium are one of our rising stars, where we give the opportunity for new and upcoming prop firms the opportunity to speak to our audience and get their name out there. So, welcome, Rich.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Cool. Well, so I suppose the typical things that people want to find out is, what is your prop firm about? What do you do? What makes you different? And I suppose any insight that will help traders. So I suppose first of all, just generally, if you could let us know about your firm, why did you start it? Sort of anything along that sort of line, really.
Yeah, sure. I was a prop firm trader for about 5 years. First year or two, I didn't even know what an expert advisor is. So when someone say, "Oh, we're going to trade with an expert advisor," it was kind of like part of a group where we take signals and didn't even know what an expert advisor was, just trying to learn how to trade. I was a ex stockbroker, so I knew how to trade the markets, but Forex is a lot different. It's faster and everything else. Um, with that being said, I found this developer and I was like, yeah, I want to give this EA a shot with like 500 or a thousand bucks of my own money. And he's like, why don't you just do prop firm trading? I was like, well, what is that? And got involved in the industry. Took some time for me to pass, a challenge. Then eventually started passing challenges. Got funded, several $1 million, which was great. And then I just saw I got denied payouts. I had all kinds of problems. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what, this business has got a lot of bad actors in it, or a lot of people that just aren't running it correctly. So
Mm.
if I just come in, be a very transparent CEO, someone that could talk to me. I talk to a lot of my traders on the phone. Actually, gotten a lot of friendships out of it, and it's been pretty cool. So I just figured if you just do opposite of what everyone else is doing, you can get some good market share. So been
Yeah,
going pretty well.
that's it. I mean, it sounds similar to what a lot of. I think there's a very typical way that traders start. They love the idea of trading. They see the
Mhm.
influencers and their Lambos and all that sort of stuff, and then you find out about prop firms and you look for the easy ways through like signal groups and all that. There seems to be a very sort of typical route that a
Mhm.
trader gets to eventually going, actually, I need to learn this myself.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, it seems similar to sort of that progression that you've had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Then I started getting involved with like back testing certain EAs, and I think expert advisors are good. I think if you have a strategy and you have a developer that turns it in, then you can take more advantage of the market because it is 24 hours. So there's missed opportunity there. Unless you're going to have 100 cups of coffee, which isn't you're not going to do. You got to go to sleep. So. Yeah, I mean, I think either way, it's a good opportunity, to make money, on both ends, whether you're learning signals or you're just using an EA.
And what was the kind of the one thing that you kind of set out to solve with Elysium Forex? Was it like you mentioned kind of payout denials there in your experience trading in your own right? Was there a particular aspect that you were like, if I'm going to do this prop firm, it's going to be this that I get after?
Yeah, so I wanted all the traders to feel like they actually had a home because I felt like a lot of the traders, including myself, they put their time in, and then when a payout was denied, it's kind of like they were working for nothing. So what I set out to
Yeah.
do is to be transparent, and just not change rules. Maybe leverage gets changed if like during wartime or something like that, but outside that, I try to keep everything, where it's fair, it's attractive, and it's we're not looking for reasons to just oh, a guy's profitable, let me get rid of him,
Yeah,
and
it's
I
it's
think a lot of
funny.
places do that.
It's funny you mentioned rule changes because I think Ross, you put out there on our X channel earlier if anyone got any questions, and one of the questions was, how many rule changes have you had? I think it was in the last 24 months or whatever, but
Hmm.
it sounds like that was one of your pain points that you're actually trying to sort of negate, really.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That and just I think a lot of these other firms, they just don't get it. They have all these cash grabs, and they're trying to just do the deepest discount, and
Yeah.
and I ran some of the numbers, and I just wouldn't be able to survive long term. So I don't know what their goal is. 80% off, 90% off, buy one get one, 150% refunds. There's no way they're going to be around. So a lot of these firms, I think, aren't going to be around if they keep doing that. For sure, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So with that, I want to have a sustainable business where everyone can basically trust what we're doing, trust our risk department, and know that we're going to be here for the long term,
Yeah.
and that they could build a career if in trading if they want to.
It's an interesting one because I mean, I think this is like one of the biggest industries that no one's ever heard of. It's a really funny thing, and
Hmm.
the allure of being able to sort of escape the 9 to 5 or the average sort of life that a lot of people live is really interesting. But on the other side, on the flip side, there's a lot of mistrust in the industry, yet the people who support the industry still support it. Like, you've got firms going down, rules changing, blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah. But yet, the audience and the demographic and the people who are interested in this are so loyal that despite all of this, they tend to sort of forgive and forget. And maybe it's just part and parcel of, wanting to escape the rat race and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And something you mentioned just a second ago is I can't remember what you said, but one thing that Ross and I often talk about is how the prop firm trader is almost like a sports team fanatics.
Hmm.
It's almost like the trader roots for their favorite team, and they get behind their favorite team and they back them and they want to talk about them. And yeah, I just find that really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people stand up, when someone's complaining, on a forum, and I've seen people just stand up like they work for the firm and they don't. I think they just don't want to believe, that maybe because they have a couple accounts that this is actually
Yeah.
happening, with the firm they're invested in. So, I've been in that situation too. I mean, I've had, payouts denied. I've had, all kinds of, stuff happen. So, it's I almost left. I almost completely left the business because of that. I was taking. I probably spent 75, 80,000 in challenges over the course of 16, 18 months maybe. So I was buying them regular,
Mm.
and I did get a decent amount of withdrawals, but did see a lot of changes that were negative, and I just wanted to try to step into the business and I'll try to fix it as best I can. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
it's very competitive, so you have to,
Oh,
you know,
massively
yeah,
competitive,
yeah,
especially like what you say about never-ending discounts and promos and
yeah.
buy one get one offers and all that sort of stuff. I suppose how do you sort of compete with that? Because I think it might be Lark Funded who have got a very firm stance of we're moving away from discounts. We want
Mhm.
to be different from that.
Yeah.
Is that sort of the line of thinking that you're going as well? And how, I suppose, without the use of discount codes and all that, how do you differentiate yourself?
So I'll never do buy one get one. I don't do refunds on challenge fees because just looking at the math with that, it just does not add up.
No.
So I think that's just kind of like a grab. And as far as discounts, you probably won't see anything more than 30% out of us. And our prices are a little bit higher. And that's because we have an independent risk team outside of our firm. So they don't have access to actually see what someone's gotten paid. And that's for a reason, because I don't want to bias to be like, oh, this guy's made $30,000, $40,000. And we don't have a compliance team that looks and tries to, get rid of people because of that. So with that being said, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the deep discounts is what's really just attracting people, and then worry about paying people out,
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what I've seen.
it's almost a bit Ponzi, isn't it? Just
Yes, yeah,
you using new
absolutely.
money to pay old money.
Yeah, absolutely. And these other firms that claim that they're a booking everyone is a lie. I mean, that's just not. It's not. I have, there's probably maybe like 10 people that I would actually consider, you know, a booking and trade because they're consistent. But there's no way just because someone gets funded that you're going to back them. Anyone could have had a good month or something like that, and then they go on a. It's not consistent all the
Mm,
time,
Yeah.
and that's the issue. So a lot of people use that as gimmicks and stuff like that. But I
yeah,
think the business has gotten a lot more transparent in how the model works. But if that's how it's going to be, then it has to be a sustainable pricing and
yeah,
and everything else.
And there's a really interesting kind of like segue there between exactly your approach, but also the rising stars as a whole. So I think the firms that have joined up as the rising stars have a long-term sustainable view of where they
Mm-hmm.
see their future. And what we are finding is some of the firms that we are either reaching out to us that want to list just want to sign us up as an affiliate, want to throw out some giveaways, and kind of just the very well trodden path into trying to get traders into their kind of ecosystem. Whereas I
Mm-hmm.
think what we're finding with the rising stars is the ones that want to join have a far longer term view of where they see
mm,
their business. And I think exactly what you've said there, and you've used the word sustainable like several times. The ones that are thinking beyond the next giveaway are the firms that are going to be here in 12, 24, months or years down the line. So that's why I think I'm actually quite proud of what we're doing here at Prop Firms Compared, because I think it aligns with the firms that are really going to stand out and stand the test of time a bit better than some other firms out there that just want to onboard us for another affiliate and get another affiliate code out there and start discounting heavy straight away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when I got involved with this, I didn't just go and say, "All right, I'm going to set up a firm, get some capital together." I mean, I partnered with a pioneer of this industry, and they've the backbone of quite a bit of firms. So I wanted to make sure that I can back up what I say, and not just all right, let me put together a couple 100,000, buy some technology, and just hope it works out. It's not how I did this. So I already
Yeah,
had thought long term, before even setting this up.
cool.
that's
Because
great to hear.
my reputation's on the line, as a person, and I want to do the right thing.
Yeah, so absolutely, that's really admirable. And Ross, I hadn't thought about that. How consistent that message is of we've seen what this industry is, and we want to change it. We want to improve on what's out there. I want to touch on something you sort of mentioned just a minute ago. Your sort of risk team, and again, putting it out there to our audience. One of the things I had was questions around risk and payout denials and all that sort of stuff. Can you sort of explain a bit about what your risk appetite is, how you go about risk, and how that works? I think having visibility on that is really important
Mm.
for
Sure. So,
for 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 the industry.
yeah, absolutely. So the risk team really is just set up to help the firm. It's not really designed to oversee the traders. Most of the traders, all the traders that I have, what I've seen so far have obeyed the rules and haven't done anything ridiculous. I did have to ban one trader. I gave him multiple, multiple, times. I actually gave him the funded account. He basically bought, and this is where risk would come in. I have a news trading rule, leverage the account 85% on gold, 4 minutes before news, put a stop loss order right at the max daily loss, and put a gain that would make him $40,000. So that was after passing the account, getting a phase one passed in an hour, and then phase two passed in the second hour. Warned them, told them, hey, look, I'm still giving you the account, even though this is breaks our gambling rules. Did the same thing again and two more times, and I gave him the account. And then after that, I just said, I can't do this. You're not responding to my emails, not don't care. After we banned him, then he wrote, oh, why did I get banned? And said he didn't receive the emails. I had read receipts. He read the emails. So there's bad actors out there. I've only had one. So most of these people, they're all, abiding by the rules. So that's where risk would step in with that. As far as protecting the firm, it would just look at world events and be like, all right, we have to lower leverage for a little bit temporarily, which some firms do because gold's going crazy or there's a war or something like that. So we did do that temporarily with some situations. But that's really it. I mean, we don't do interviews, or anything like that. As far as as long as you're following the rules, what do I care what you're doing? I don't have time for that, and we don't, it's just a gimmick, I think, to find something wrong, to deny a payout. Why else would you do that?
It sounds like you've got a really pragmatic approach of, look, the rules are there.
Yes.
And also as well, it's a very fair approach. I mean, you could have quite easily, you'd have been within your rights to say, look, you're not trading within our rules. And at that point, you would have been well within your rights. But I think it speaks volume the fact you went no, and you gave not just one chance, but two chances. And it's a real shame about the industry that, like, I suppose with any team or any business or anything, you've got to go at the pace of the slowest person. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the very few bad actors out there are responsible, but in part for some of these tight rules and interview process and all that sort of stuff. And especially as well when we've seen it, and we try and avoid a lot of the inflammatory talk about, you've refused this payout, you get and then all these like other prop firm, um I've forgotten their names, but they rile up you
negative
with,
news portrayers. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they have absolutely no idea about what's happened, about the semantics. And I can imagine as a business, it's a really difficult thing to manage, knowing, look, we've acted in good faith, yet this
Mm-hmm.
person's gone out there, slandered us, possibly lied, and then a number of these, prop firm. I don't know what to refer them as, but prop firm news channels then jump in. Hey, insert firm name. You've got to answer to this. It must be really difficult as a prop firm CEO to go, I've got to balance this thing of, I know I'm being fair, with anything can happen publicly, and it could tarnish an otherwise fantastic reputation.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, what I did was I went right on Discord and spoke about it. So I wanted anyone, and the person never wrote anything because I showed them they lied. I showed the read receipts and I said, look, here's, you just said this. Here's all the emails. I sent you 3 emails. You read them all, and we didn't even have a discussion about it. You just were trying to trying to break the rules and get away with it. And maybe by me just handing over the funded account, regardless, thinking that the person would follow the rules after,
Yeah.
technically he should have been, right then and there disqualified. But I figured, I don't want to just do that. Let me be, nice. But again, I mean, you're gonna get some people that are just gonna try to game the system and not follow the rules and do the right thing. And our rules are set out right there, and they're not crazy. We don't have consistency rules. We don't have interviews. We don't have a lot of gimmicks there. They're trying to prevent anyone from trading the way they want to. So for someone to go ahead and try to do that with our firm makes absolutely no sense. And the policy I have with my investors is, if that guy would have made $100,000, I would have had to pay him out, because we won't. I would have had to, the account would have been done after that. But I will not. We will not deny a payout at all. So
It's really refreshing to hear.
yeah, I mean, it could be a little nerve wracking, but you got to watch your guys closely. Everyone's very respectful. I don't. I think it's a respect thing where the people I speak to, and I just spoke to 2 of my traders today. Just ask them how they were doing. And, one's going through a rough time, so I just checked in on them and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, they're people. I'm a person. And it's the best way to run the business.
And some of our traders might find that quite surprising, that you kind of reach out and talking to your traders.
Yep.
I don't think that's definitely not the kind of the considered the norm. So
no,
I think
not. That's why I'm doing it.
So I think, but also people will appreciate being treated as human, and they are, your traders in your community, so to speak. So as ever, it's a refreshing approach.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's the best approach. I mean, why have someone I'm paying, a couple dollars, them talking to them, and not I want to be the face of the company,
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
I try, I always, I'll answer, I pretty much answer every single support ticket myself. I don't have a million people working on the Discord. I have it behind I have tons of people behind the scenes, but handling, if there's something when an account doesn't get assigned or there's a tech issue, as far as dealing with the company, I want to be the face of it. You know.
Well, also, I don't think you should ever underestimate how valuable that is.
Yeah.
All too often, I think it's very easy to see a prop firm brand or a logo, but not understand the people behind it and their intentions. Well, it's precisely why we want to have more conversations like this with firm owners to put a face to the brand and let traders know what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something sort of shifting the conversation a bit. One thing that I really want to talk about is what sort of traits and characteristics and I suppose strategies or anything like that. What are the typical characteristics of someone who trades well and is profitable? I suppose what I'm trying to do here is give something really valuable to our listeners and go, this is someone behind the scenes who sees how this all works. What can you what sort of knowledge can you impart on them to help them with their trading journey?
So I would tell them one thing would be is if when you do reach the fund for a newer trader, you're saying, or just in
Yeah,
trading in general.
I suppose let's start with newer traders because you're absolutely right. There's obviously a large scale. So I suppose I'm speaking generally, and let's be honest. I think a lot of traders are still finding their feet. They haven't
Hmm.
potentially got their mindset in check. They might be revenge trading. They might be over leveraging.
Yeah.
And I think, sadly, so I think that's a large percentage of the market. So I suppose to that audience who are, struggling to get funded or stay consistent.
Yeah, so my approach to my approach was it when I started was is to take it as if it's a business aspect, right? So every time you're buying a challenge, it's and you get funded, it's like all right, now I got a business running, right? So you want to diversify. You want to diversify between firms, and you want to diversify between challenges and strategies because you don't want to be copy trading from one, on multiple accounts with the same strategy because then you'll wake up and that stream of revenue is gone. So depending on what your situation is, if you're able to, continue to buy challenges, you get payouts. As soon as you reach a first funded account, some people think that, all right, I made it and now I can let off the gas. Depending on what your goals are, if you really want to make money on this, right away, you got to go buy another challenge and just you fail, you got to buy another challenge. As long as you have the money, you get a nice payout, keep buying challenges. That is the key to being successful and to continue to have that money and the opportunity there to make the money. So my my main thing I would be is even with my firm, as much as I trust our firm and everything else, I would say you diversify between different firms because I do know there was a ton of people I got traded with, funded with like $1 million with certain firms I don't want to mention, but went out of business
Mm.
and they lost $1 million in funding. Which when I saw that, I said, there's so many firms out there. At the time, I would never do that because, you know, I, unless I was just, popping out accounts left and right, it doesn't make sense to just get funded and put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I think diversifying everything across the board, I think, is the best way.
It's
If only
interesting
we knew a good comparison site for shopping around various firms, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Go to prop firms compared.
it is a great one, Ross. I like that. It's really interesting you mentioned about diversifying strategy. And I
Mhm.
suppose just on the other bit, first of all, diversifying, the firms you work with and all that sort of stuff. I've actually heard a lot more people saying that, specifically over the last couple of months, really,
Mhm.
about treating the acquisition of challenges as a business expense. So I've heard a lot about that recently, which is interesting. But the part that I haven't heard which is interesting, is diversifying strategy. And you're absolutely right. In hindsight, think about it pragmatically. If you've got one strategy and yes, you're copy trading or whatever, if you have a
Hmm.
bad streak or something, then that diversification of firms doesn't really matter. So it's really interesting. So how would you go about that? Because all of the sort of advice you see is find your strategy, stick to your strategy, be mechanical, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so if you're trading different pairs, you could pretty much implement you should be able to implement, depending on what strategy you're trading, with different pairs. So if like the US is obviously volatile right now with gold, and gold's gone crazy. So, you can't take a strategy that even myself was using 3 weeks ago, or when before this whole thing started, and do it now. I keep hitting drawdown because it changes everything. The way the market changes, it's affecting your progress and the amount of challenges you'll be able to pass with that.
Hmm,
So I think it's best to diversify just between different pairs,
that makes sense.
depending on global events and everything else. So, because they're all going to trade different. So if you're trading with an EA, typically you can switch off pairs. It's probably a good idea. And if you're trading yourself, just apply the same exact things that you're doing. Let's say if you're trading Euro USD, do it to British pound, Japanese yen. And it should, as long as you follow the same rules, you'll be able to get those pips and make that money.
Got you. That makes a lot of sense.
You know.
And like I say, I've not really heard that, but again, completely logical.
Because it's the way the world is right now. Things are moving a lot faster. So,
Yeah,
until it settles down, which hopefully it will eventually, that would be my advice. And that's what I'm doing too. It's working.
cool. Any sort of insight into strategy or anything like that?
Um, yeah, I mean, the revenge trading definitely can't do. If you're trading manually, um, you need to set up a game plan, stick to that game plan. If your drawdown is 2% for the day or 1%, then that's it. Just let the rest of the day
Yeah,
go by. If you're trading with an EA, don't, my biggest thing was I used to watch it. So what was the point of it? I'd watch it, all day, and then I'd be like, I would think I'd know more than the EA.
yeah,
And my first strategy I started off with was like a martingale strategy, and I would interfere with it, and then it would recoil back, and I would take a loss and would have made a profit. So that happened
yeah,
so many times. So if you are using an EA and you've designed it, or you've bought it and messed around with the settings, biggest thing is that those are there for a reason, and that's to take the decisions for you based on the type of strategy and risk you want. So I would just leave it at that. Um, you know,
it's almost pointless getting something automated and hands off and try and manage it yourself.
Yeah, and I've done that, and I've done that. That's you start thinking, oh, more than the EA, and yeah, I've learned that the hard way. And just if you're trading on your own, just maybe adjust the hours that you trade based on what's going on with current events or what news announcements are coming out. Because what if you're trading and you look for certain things in the market, it may not react the same way it did 2 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I would say at this time, just be a little bit more cautious. Maybe test the waters a little bit,
Mm,
with your strategy during this time. And yeah, I mean that's probably those are probably the best advice I can give as far as that.
cool.
And because you have your own experience as a prop trader for many years, what's the kind of your main experience that has shaped why Elysium Forex looks and feels and is the kind of the way it is? You mentioned EAs quite a few times there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just interested in your trading world, how that has now completely influenced and directed you as the CEO of a prop firm.
How is it? How is it? What? I'm sorry, you broke up.
I'm just interested to understand your experience and your journey as a trader and
Mhm.
how that has influenced you as a CEO in terms of Elysium Forex now looks
Oh,
and feels and is a certain way based on your experiences as a
oh
trader.
yeah. So I just wanted I always wanted to be on the side of the fence. I would
Mm.
say after the a month of being a prop firm trader. I've owned the investment firm before. I've had about 25 guys working for me, in the investment field.
Mhm.
So I just knew that that was my place. I knew that being a prop firm trader was a stepping stone for me, and I knew, like anything else, you want to know the ins and outs of what it's like to be on that side of the fence, and then
Yeah.
it'll help you with being on this side of the fence. So,
Mhm.
and I still trade firms today
Hmm.
because I learned from their mistakes and implement it into my business to correct it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
And where do you want
I
Elysium
take
Forex
challenges.
to be in like the, let's say, next 12 months? What are your expectations and your hopes for Elysium Forex?
Household name,
Hmm.
something that's recognized. I mean, I think I'll get there.
I
I
think
really do.
I think you will, and I mean, just take little things like your logo. I mean, obviously, I'm coming with my marketing hat, and I'm not,
Mhm.
generally not sort of a branding person, but even the way your logo differentiates itself from the rest of the industry. You look at most logos in the industry; they're all very much the same. You couldn't really tell one
Mhm.
from the other, and I think it's I think it's a visual. It seems like a visual representation of where you want to take your business. Be different, tread a different path, and something that we've seen time and time again is that when a firm releases a new feature that seems to be working, everyone jumps on it. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think your logo sort of represents the path you want to take, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually thought of the theme, and my partner is actually Greek. So when I told him, I said, "Let's go, Greek god theme." He's like, "I'm in." So yeah, it's just I've always been fascinated by Greek mythology, and that's really where that came from. Just even when I was a stockbroker, I had a Zeus statue on the side. So I just carried it over the passion into this, and
That's awesome.
um,
Have
yeah,
you
I did.
just going on that? Have you read Myth? Stephen Fry wrote a big anthology about Greek mythology called Mythos, and he talks right from the beginnings of Greek mythology all the way through in chronological order. It's really, really good.
Oh, really? I haven't. I will check that out then for sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
The
I'm
audiobook's
very.
great as well because he's a great narrator, so I'd highly
Yeah,
recommend
yeah.
that. I was going to say, so one thing, the thing that sort of prompted this call or
Mhm.
this first podcast episode was we were discussing your trading competition. Um, I think trading competitions are massively important for the
Mhm.
industry. Can you just sort of give a bit of a plug and a bit of background into why you created this and how it works and what it's about, when it's starting? Basically, free reign. Tell us about
Sure.
your
Yeah.
trading
So,
competition.
I wanted to wait until the firm got a decent amount of traders that knew about it. So we're right now we're in 44 different countries, 38 different states. So we're growing pretty well. So once I got to that point, I wanted to run a competition. So the competitions it's not the biggest one as far as giveaways. It's only 5 different prizes, but it's good. I mean, there's 100,000, 50,000, 25, and 10. So really excited about it. It just started. Registration started actually today, this morning at 9 o'clock. It runs until next Sunday at 9 o'clock, and then it'll start that Monday at 9 o'clock.
Cool.
And
So
that's
that
all on our
is
Discord. So it's
cool,
about
and
a week.
that's Sunday, 22nd of March for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, correct. And then it'll start the following day, the actual competition, and it runs for a month. And it's based on the same rules that our current challenges are, and whoever has the highest P&L, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, they'll get those prizes. But it's very simple. We didn't, I've seen a lot of these um, like competitions where there's a lot of rules and stuff like that, and I feel like all it's doing is just opening up um, for someone to get pissed off at me. Oh, I didn't follow the rule, and I want this to be a fun thing. I want it to be as easy, as simple as possible. So that's why I didn't add any rules or consistency, or I've seen overlapping and all that stuff. I mean, I was looking at some of these rules I can't even understand. So how the hell is it trading? So I
That's
wanted to
it.
make it simple. you know?
And at the end of the day, you want people to experience what it's like trading with Elysium. You don't want
Yeah,
to add in
absolutely.
any complexity that doesn't give an indicative idea of what it's actually like to be with you. So how do people enter? Do they have to buy a challenge in order to enter?
No, so you go right to the website, you hit there's a login button. You click that, you go to create an account if you don't have one already. Once you create the account or the login, you'll see right on the dash it'll say competition, and then you just click the register button. So
Cool.
very simple. Um, and there's let's see, if you're on our Discord, been talking about it, today. It's on X, there's all different things, but it's very simple to sign up. And
Cool.
it's starting balance is 100,000.
Cool. So, sorry, just to confirm, are you saying that you don't need to buy a challenge? It's free to enter.
Yeah, free to enter. Yep. Yeah,
Amazing.
just need to register. That's it. You
Cool.
know.
So that's a
So
complete no-brainer. Everyone listening, go over to Elysium now and register.
yeah,
Cool.
definitely. I mean, I think it'll be it's a good way to see what it'll actually be like to take a challenge. If someone actually doesn't, get the actual for places and first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And then we're going to probably do some more challenge. We're definitely going to do more competitions down the road. This was our first competition. Wanted to just test the waters with it, and hopefully the turnout is really good.
Cool. Well, thanks for your time. Like I say again, everyone listening, make sure you go over and check out their Discord. It sounds like a real proper community that you can actually get involved with rather than something faceless. So yeah, everyone get involved. And Rich, thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, best of luck with everything. Really, really excited about the way Elysium's going.
Oh, thank you. You guys have been great, and definitely one of the better review sites out there.